with my brother George, lifelong martial artist, trainer, fight promoter, longtime fight promoter, our local fight promoter for since I've lived in LA. Moved here, my son, 18 years ago.
Yep.
And so you've been helping fighters, up and coming fighters, as long as I've known you. And it's great to talk to you, man. Thank you for coming on.
Brother. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Yeah. How did you get into martial arts?
I mean, just like any other kid, my parents put me in Taekwondo when we moved to the United States.
Oh,
I was 8.
Okay.
Going through the system, like, oh, hey, go to tournaments. You win a trophy or a medal.
Yeah.
That gives you $100. I'm like, geez, I could do this forever. But that was just
in Glendale back in the day.
I never lived in Glendale, to be honest.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
probably one of the only Armenians that's
no
never
way.
done that. Yeah, we lived in Hollywood when we got here.
Okay. Oh, back
in '88.
88. Okay, there you go.
Then we bought a house in North Hollywood. Then we moved to Studio City. Then I got married. Me and my wife moved to Sherman Oaks. And a couple of years later, we had our son, and we moved to Granada Hills, where we bought a home, and we've just been calling Granada Hills home for the past 7 or 8 years.
Nice. Not too far from all the other Armenians, though.
Yeah, no, we're pretty much in the same area.
There's no escaping, right? Yeah, man. So Taekwondo, and then like I guess I first met you when I met Edmund back in the Tarbedian, and I went to his gym, and I think he started helping me with my striking, something like that. And then you were always around, helping all the people around you, and then with the with the fighters too, like kind of helping them out. And then trying to think, were you fight promoting then? Back in 2007?
2007 was the first show I ever promoted. Yeah, I started promoting Muay Thai.
You're talking to the microphone,
Yeah, I started promoting Muay Thai at 2007.
That's right. Muay Thai was first,
I think Edmund was kind of taking a break from fighting, and we used to always go to the shows because when I was fighting, Dennis Warner was the promoter, WCK Muay Thai, and right before him, I used to fight for a promotion called Voot Promotions.
But remember that.
And he was, his fights were so awesome, Hollywood Park, and I was like, man, like
that because Dwayne Luda, did he fight on that?
I believe so.
Voot, yeah, he did all the big Muay Thai kind of events.
Yeah, so I was always interested because I used to go to the weigh-ins, and I would sell tickets, and I always had that thing was like, man, like what's going on, behind the scenes in fighting, and Voot, when I was living in Hollywood, Voot lived like a block away from my house in Thai-town.
Oh wow!
So
because the little Armenians right
exactly
next door, same neighborhood, right? Pretty much.
So Voot was, we would always meet, prior to the fight. He would give me my stack of hundreds, seats. After the show, I would go back, give him cash. We'd grab a beer, have some Thai food, some beef jerky, and talk. I was like, man, like I'm handing this guy a stack of dough. Like I'm pretty sure others are doing it too. And back then it was, the pay's not amazing right now.
Yeah.
But it was like 1/10 of whatever we're paying out right now. So it was like just get $100-$200 a fight. I was doing the math. I'm like, shit. He's probably pocketing a lot of money. So I think me and Edna were talking. We had one of our students fighting for Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm gonna try promoting. I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna try promoting. I'm gonna talk to Dennis. I'm gonna say, hey, like, let me use your license. I want to put the show together. Like, all right. I'm like, you should fight. Like, I don't know. I haven't fought in a couple. I'm like, no, you should fight. We should feature you. So I talked to Dennis. Started to put like a card together. Hollywood Park Casino, I remember, called it Extreme Muay Thai Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great card back then. I remember Edmund fought on the card. Malaya Pet fought on the card.
Malaya Pet, wow.
Yeah, Baxter Humpy fought on the card. I mean, some
the
big,
who's who, right?
Yeah, the who's who.
Yeah.
Back then, it was when Malaya Pet fought, everybody showed up.
Yeah.
So, we put the show together.
Was it at Carmor's as well?
No, it was at Hollywood Park.
Hollywood Park,
right
that's
next to
right.
the racetrack
Yeah,
upstairs,
yeah,
the second floor.
Yeah.
It was fun. We had a lot of friends, so we had a lot of sponsors. Sports books and traffic ticket assist and this and our friends. Rhino Insurance. It was a successful show for what it was. And
Yeah.
I think if I knew what I know now back then, I would have probably made like $100,000 on that show because we just spent stupid money on that show.
I mean, it was a different time too, right? Before social media, and like different ways to communicate, right? I remember pre that, but everything was like magazines and
We had
kind of like
Facebook. No, we had my page.
MySpace.
MySpace or my page or something like that.
Yeah, MySpace. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, MySpace.
That was kind of like form of advertising, I guess, putting it out there.
Yeah.
But
Not like it is now.
No, like we were just we're spending just like, oh, you want this? Okay, we're bringing fighters from Canada for a show. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Flights, hotels, this, that. But you learn. Like I learned through the process. Basically, I had to pay my way to learn. Like right now, it's so much easier for anybody else because it's just out there. People could like I've never turned down anybody if they wanted to know anything about promoting because I had to learn the hard way. I had to literally. I was working 12-hour shift at.
Yeah, you always had a full-time job, grinding.
I've been in post-production. Well, I had been in post-production for 22 years. I was working, 12-hour shifts, and then, on a lunch break, I'm making matches, I'm selling tickets, I'm putting the poster together with, the graphic designer. So it was literally like, back then it was a one-man show or, I had some friends that were helping me out, but, we didn't have the ticketing system. We had to literally handwrite all the tickets, like section A, row 1, seat 1, seat 2, seat 2. Man, like our room table was just full of tickets, and then you miss up one number, and then two people are sitting in the same seat. You're like, oh man, like, I wish there was an easier way.
I'm trying to think, because I did a couple. I did a couple shows. I promoted a couple shows. I don't want to.
National Fight Alliance.
That wasn't here in LA, but in New Mexico, because I fought there, and then not that I was like, oh, money, but I was like, man, I'm doing it already because I was like selling all these tickets, and then I had the fight. I was like, I might as well like do it,
Yep.
And then we did a couple of promotions. I did it with Chris Cordero. If you know, he's a King of the
Chris
Cage
Cordero,
matchmaker. He was my matchmaker for the King of the Cage at the beginning, and we just kind of talked. We had a conversation, and then we just did it, And I remember the making the seating charts and like the numbers and. I mean, it was crazy, and I was fighting on the card, and I had all my guys fighting on the card as well.
Yeah, it's
different times,
It was when you look back at it, right? It was so fun.
Yeah, so much fun. It was like a Wild West though too, right?
Yeah.
You still had the athletic commission, but I think there was like less rules, right?
Right now medicals. If you want to get fully medical license to fight, it's going to cost you like $890.
Oh yeah.
Back then it was much cheaper. The doctors are getting paid less. I mean, your overall nut was much lower back then.
Yeah.
Obviously, price of living's gone up, so you got to pay people more. But and the funny thing with promotions, right? Everybody wants to get paid more. Like from every show, the fighters want to get more money. The ring announcers want to make more money. Everybody wants to make more money, but when you try to, hike the ticket price up $5, everybody now is like, complains, oh, come on.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if you want to make more money and I have the same amount of seats, if I sell the same amount of chairs at the same amount of price, I can't make money. I'm probably going to lose money every time. So, I had to sit down literally maybe in the past, I think 18 years, I probably had to educate a good 1,000 people on, the way promotions work, We sell tickets, we make money, we pay you to do what you do. Without you, we don't have a fight because fighters make the fights. Without the promoter, you don't have a platform to perform on. So you got to work with me.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think that was one of the reasons I did those things to get the guys fights. That's why I started to do the promotions here in LA because there was no MMA events.
Yeah.
Right. So we did that National Fight Alliance. And then we did the first promotion here in Burbank at the Marriott. Yeah. Where else did we do it? At the Marriott and West Hills, right?
West Hills.
There.
Woodland Hills.
Woodland Hills, right?
That's our next show, by the way.
Oh, okay, okay, there you go.
February 8th.
There you go. It's a
UNF
good venue.
22 is going to be in
Boom,
Woodland Hills.
there you go. And then we did one at the Tarzana Country Club.
Yeah.
With Ronda Rousey's MMA debut,
Yep.
right?
I came to that fight. I remember Edmund was wrapping her hands, getting her ready. I was just hanging out in the locker room.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's crazy, man. Just the people that were just involved, and even my early King of the Cage days, like all the people, like what's his name, Griffin, not Stephen Bonner, the guy who fought Stephen Bonner.
Oh, Forrest Griffin.
Forrest Griffin, yeah, he was like in my cards, and Dan Severin, who was in the early UFC, like all those guys were like on those cards. But just how things have evolved. Do you know anybody that fights on the cards and promotes it and trains guys? It's still, I haven't. That's something of the like 10, 15 years in the past, right?
I think training and fighting, there's a few guys still that do that.
Training, right? Train, and then they train people, and then they fight as well.
Right.
But just doing the whole thing.
I can't think of anybody, to be honest.
Because I'm curious if there's like rules or
I don't think there's rules.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, the athletic commission doesn't. As long as there's no bias. You're not,
Right.
You're not matching yourself versus an 0-25 guy, which are.
I remember like at that country club, at the Tarzana Country Club, I remember the athletic commission be like, "Hey guys, this is the nicest venue we've ever, fought at. Make sure you guys, be respectful and take care of the place." And like our locker rooms were the banquet or whatever the halls of the thing, and we had the city views of the valley, and then they took us out on golf carts, it's just like. Yeah.
There's been some fun fights like that. They used to do the Marconi Auto Museum. They used to do that stuff where I've cornered a couple of fights on those shows where Sugar Ray Leonard, Arnold Schwarzenegger would come out. It was just more of a charity thing.
Yeah, yeah,
but yeah. Like that Tarzana Hills Country Club is a really nice place.
Did they have more fights there?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I think because Robert Gleckman, he was a member there, so he was able to get it for us.
I think my buddy's a member there now, so
okay.
It might be something I might want to talk about.
There we go.
We actually played pickleball there maybe like a month ago.
Yeah, it's a good spot,
Yeah.
I think they set it up in they were going to have it in the main area, and then they couldn't. So what was a cage, right? Big old cage, and so they had to set it up in the parking lot.
Yeah. I remember now. It's funny, like going back to Woodland Hills now.
Yeah.
We promoted boxing in Woodland Hills, maybe 17 years ago. We were at Woodland Hills.
Wow.
Walk through the venue. I'm like, I remember locker rooms are upstairs and some broom closet or something. We got to try to figure that out.
Yeah.
The ceilings are lower, so you got to check out,
Yeah.
how do we put lighting in there?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little challenge, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. That's good, man. That's good. Things. What was that? 2007, 8? No, that was 2011-ish. They were starting to have those National Fight Alliance.
Yeah.
Alberto Crane's National.
Alberto Crane's National. Yeah.
Because my student Robert was like, "No, you gotta put your name." I'm like, "No, man. Like, just want to get the guys fights."
Back then, it was all about putting a name out there. Like the promoters would put their own little picture wearing a little suit in the corner. Like, what are you doing? You're the promoter. You're not the promotee. And that's why everybody's always like, all my friends are always on my kids. Like, why don't you put yourself out there a little more?
Yeah.
You should do interviews. You should take pictures. I'm like, dude, like, what is my job? I'm the promoter.
Yeah. I never what do you call it? Would think of myself as a promoter or want to be a promoter, like a fight promoter, just because in a way, like I don't think the highest of like a fight promoter, like a Don King, and even like I don't want to name names, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but like some MMA promoters and stuff. I'm like, it's kind of like they just use people up and stuff. But you, man, you really care about the guys and you take care of the guys, the fighters, and anybody that's fought like with you. I think I know our guys that have fought for Up Next, they always appreciate, and you always try to do the right thing, be fair, right?
We try to go the extra mile for the fighters. Again, we want to make sure that everybody's taken care of, and I've told everybody, I don't have an A and a B side because like God's given you the same ability as the same the person you're fighting.
Yeah.
whoever trains hard or whoever puts in a better camp is going to end up winning. Like don't be like, oh yeah, like I'm in the blue corner. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
the reason how that works for me is I don't really care who's in the red and blue
Yeah.
corner because I have who's the main event. So world champion, okay, you're my champion, and your coach has another fighter, so you're going to be in the red corner, and everybody else that your coach has is going to be in the red corner.
Mm-hmm.
And then now at that point, me and Ryan Buckner have to sit down and be like, okay, well, this guy has 3 guys in this corner, so he's fighting guys from this gym, but this guy has another fighter fighting this guy. We literally have to play chess of how to make sure that like all the coaches have all their fighters in the same locker room, and then it's not like putting another fighter from that camp.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah, it's not so easy, right? It's complicated. Yeah, I mean, even when you do all the best that you can do, there's always somebody that you can't mix or make it work, right?
No, there's always somebody that's unhappy, but you can't please everybody. We try to do our best to
That's it.
to cater to everybody's needs. And again, like it's always, hey, if you lose a fight, if it's a split decision against you, somehow they think that the promotion has anything to do with it. I'm like, we have nothing to do with it. We hire the athletic commission, and they bring their judges and referees. That's a completely
You're
different
required
entity.
to hire the athletic commission, right? And pay. You have to pay the athletic commission. You have to. It's part of the process, right? And it's
we do the same
legally
thing exactly
separate thing. Yeah.
But they don't. A lot of people that come out, like I think from the fans' perspective, right? I think you would agree. Like maybe 10% of the fans understand the rules and regulations and how how things work with the referees and judges.
Right.
A lot of people don't have a clue of like they come to fight for UNF, right? They think the judges belong to UNF. I'm like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Like I just hired these judges, just like any other promoter hires them. We have no say so in their decision at all. If they make a bad call, they're human beings. Like they're gonna miss stuff, like just like everybody else misses things. It's like you can't yell or scream or be rude to a judge because he didn't rule in favor of your buddy or anything.
Right.
Like I don't like it when people do that, and I've gotten to multiple yelling altercations, and I've gotten into a couple of fist fights with a couple of fans that were being disrespectful, just like to the referees and judges, and some of them were just being complete a-holes to my staff, and I won't stand for that.
Yeah. And going back to your martial arts journey, doing Taekwondo, and then you got into Muay Thai. Because I remember back in the day when I first met you, when I first moved to LA, you were telling me like, then you were in Muay Thai, and then you were like all into Muay Thai.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Taekwondo thing was a kid.
You're a kid. Yeah.
Like maybe I did it for a couple of years. Got my tangerine belt. Then I kind of stopped. I started doing other things.
But it was an introduction, which is always good, right?
I mean, I did karate when I was a little kid, but I think pretty much any single kid you talk to, they do some sort of martial arts, for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. It hurts. But I always had that interest, and then I stopped. I just didn't really do much of sports or anything. I think I was 17. I was 17 years old when my best friend was shot and killed. And we were together every single day. So when he died, it was kind of like that void. I had to fill it somehow. And my other buddy was training at Go Course, like a lot of the other guys in Hollywood. He's like, man, like, what are you doing? I'm like, nah, I'm just hanging out. He's like, come to judo. I'm like, I don't want to do judo. I don't like, grappling. He's like, no, come to judo. Just, take your mind off. And he finally was able to convince me after like 3 or 4 months to go to Go Course in Hollywood to do judo. And I started doing judo. Started to like it. All my friends were there, so it was fun. But like I said, I had a job in post-production, and my shift was changed to night shift, and I couldn't go anymore. So I was, I kind of stopped for a while. I was working, and then I think they had a group of guys that used to train together at this post-production house I used to work at.
Okay.
They're like, you used to do judo and stuff, because, we would talk. He's like, yeah. He's like, we train in my garage. You want to come and train? I'm like, well, he's like, Saturdays, we just open up the garage. I have a couple of bags hanging. I have some mats. I'm like, sure. So I want to start training with them. Turn out, this the guy that was kind of teaching the class was actually a really legit Muay Thai fighter that was training out of the Muay Thai
Academy here, TA. Yeah.
I remember to this day. His name was Patrick Lockman. He had some fights with a lot of he fought Rob McCullough, a lot of good guys. And I remember I used to go to the shows, Warriors Cup, and I used to see Rob and all these guys. I'm like, man, like these guys are badass. I still tell Rob when I talk to him, like, like you and Paulo Tosha, you guys inspired me because I saw the movie Bloodsport. I'm like, man, Muay Thai is amazing. So
those are the days, man. Before, well, even after the UFC and stuff came out, but before that, that was like the ultimate test, right? And that was like the blood sport.
The blood sport.
Yeah, the ultimate thing, you know?
Yeah, so I started training with Pat. He was going to put me in a smoker fight. Again, like Faith would have it. He was also a musician. Then his band got, I think they were asked to tour with some very, very famous band. So he left. Like, well, shit, who am I going to train with now? And I think like a month passed. Nothing. Like actually go back a little bit. So when he was fighting, he had like their fight posters in the garage, and I was kind of looking at it. I was like, oh shit, that's an Armenian last name. It said Edmund Tarverdian. I'm like, who's this guy? He's like, oh, we call him the Wonder Boy. I'm like, why? Yeah, I'm like, why? He's like, oh, he does all those crazy spinning kicks and knocks people out with spinning kicks and spinning backhands. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But I had no idea who Edmund was. I just saw him on a poster just one time. He was like 110 pounds, a little skinny guy. So yeah, again, I stopped training for 2 months. My grandma calls me. Was like, hey, I need to take a package to Glendale to send a package to Armenia. Can you take me? I'm like, sure. So I go pick her up. We're going into this little alleyway to drop off her package. I'm going in. I see like posters and this and that, and I'm like, oh shit, that's that Edmund guy. I saw a poster with that same poster. So come to have it, it's Edmund's gym.
Oh no way.
Yeah, Edmund had a little 600 square foot tiny gym. It's called Ed's Karate.
Ed's Karate.
Yeah, his space was so small in that shopping complex that he had the smallest sign, so you couldn't even write Edmund's Karate. It was like his sign was just enough to write Ed's Karate. So I took the number down. I called him a couple days later. I'm like, hey, I want to do Muay Thai. I saw you guys do Muay Thai. He was like, yeah, we do Muay Thai. I'm like, cool. I go and it's Edmund maybe and he had just started the gym.
Wow.
It was I think his coach left the gym to him and moved to North Hollywood.
That's right.
And he took over. I think there's maybe 20 of us in there max. And I'm like, why is everybody wearing karate uniforms? I came from Muay Thai. I was like, yeah, we do Muay Thai, karate. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I found a place. So I started training, paying my dues. And I started training. And then, but I was craving that Muay Thai, so I'm like, man, I want to do Muay Thai. It's like, I think there's a smoker fight. Do you want to fight? I'm like, yeah. 4 months into training or whatever, I was at Crew Rex's gym, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
So he took me to fight 4 months after training, and back then those smokers were 40 fights. Or they would start 6 o'clock at the latest, and they would go on to past midnight.
Yeah.
So my first fight, it was there's no weight classes. Like, oh, you look like you're about 140. You look like you're about 145. Yeah. You guys should fight.
Yeah.
My first opponent, they matched me up, was versus Bobby Gamboa, who was at the time was the King of the Cage MMA champion.
Yeah.
The guy was a pro, and I'm doing a smoker fight. I'm like, this guy looks pretty serious. And again, Bobby Gamboa was training with Colin Oyama. When they used to, roll up back then, it was even the smoker fights, they used to roll up with Rampage, Tito, Rob. I'm like, and it's just me and Edmund standing there, and you got the entire, Team Punishment, Team Oyama team. We're like, oh, okay, this is going to be a long night. So I think it was 1:30 a.m. Mm-hmm. Me and Bobby were the last fight. We finally got in there. We kind of threw down. I think he hit me a bunch of times. I hit him a bunch of times, and then Bobby forgot that it was Muay Thai. He's just literally pulled a German suplex on me. I think my back still hurts from back then, but that was kind of how we started to work with Edmund. And I was 20, he was 18.
Wow.
We just continued to work, and I was like, man, we should do more Muay Thai. So we started doing more Muay Thai classes. More people came in, and then like I was like, this is fun, but I gotta learn how to do Muay Thai. I'm like, I'm out. I was working at Universal Pictures back then. I asked for 2 weeks off. They're like, no, you can't go. It was a Friday. I packed my bags and just flew to Thailand. Lost my job. Stayed there for a month. Trained. They took me to a best friend bar fight. Got my ass beat. But it was the introduction to real Muay Thai. Going to Lumpini Stadium and Tempest Stadium, Ratchadamna.
Kevin's going to Thailand this weekend.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're gonna have a
first
great
time,
time. You're going with Andy or just
with the student here at the gym.
okay? Yeah, it's an amazing time. I've been there 7-8 times, but just coming back, it was so different. Where like now I know Muay Thai. I've seen it.
The culture and just how it works.
I loved it. It was a great time. And then I came back, fought a bunch of times for Wood. I was like, man, like I'm kind of old for this. Like kids are retiring at 17. I'm starting at 21. So I think I did that for.
No, but if they had pro fighters, right? Because that was a big step,
yes.
right?
Yeah. But it was, like I had a job. Like I was like,
right.
like to really become good at Muay Thai back
Fully
then. 'Cause
committed.
there was a lot of fanatics that they were doing it. They didn't care. They would go sleep at the gym. I'm like, man, I have a full-time job. Like I have my parents. I have a house. I have a mortgage. I'm like, I can't be doing this. It's fun to do it, but the fun's done. Now it's just I want to concentrate on doing some business part of it. And when I was in Thailand training, I met a guy who was at the time the world champion in the WBA in boxing.
Oh, okay.
And I was big into boxing. Like
Yeah.
that was my first passion. I'm like, how come I never heard of this guy? The WBA was the second biggest belt, I think, in all of boxing, right after the WBC, but I've never heard of the guy. So I went back again to visit and just to train. And I met his wife, who was Russian. I'm like, how come I never heard of your husband? She's like, oh, they're kind of hiding him here. He's the champion. The promoter doesn't want to, like ship him off to any other countries because, if he goes over there, they might screw him out of his belt. So he keeps him exclusively in Thailand. He would fight maybe once in Japan with an opponent of choice. But I'm like, dude, there's, like he's the champion at 130. Do you know who the other champions are? You know how much money there is out there? Like Marco Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales, Acelino Freitas. That was like that weight class around that time was the mecca. It was, you couldn't get any bigger than that. Those guys were making millions, and I'm like just curious, how much money is he making? It's like about 20,000. I'm like, no, there's more money out there. So I started talking to him, kind of, convinced him a little bit that the United States is the place to be. Came back. My good friend Art Simonian was signed by a big promoter back then. He was doing really big things, Banner Promotions, Artie Palulo. So I talked to them, like, you guys know this guy? They're like, yeah, we've been trying to get a fight with that guy with Freitas for the past, year and a half. His promoter, Songchai, won't let him do anything. Like, how much money is there for him? They threw a number out there. I'm like, wow, that's 30 times more than he's making.
Damn.
So I went and, literally, I had come back from Thailand maybe a month, took another flight, went back there again. So I started talking to...
So his trainer was who the fighter was? What was the fighter's name?
Yatsenan Sityodtong.
Oh, okay. So he's a Thai fighter.
Yeah.
And then his coach was, they were all Thai guys.
Yep. Yeah, it was Kriyotong Senanan, who's,
Yeah.
the great grandmaster.
Oh, so that was your connection with Sityodtong.
Yeah. Well, when I was thinking about going to train over there, I asked Wood, I'm like, where should I go? He's like, oh, Walter went there.
Yeah.
He loved it. I'm like, is it by the beach? Does it have nice restaurants? He's like, yeah. It's kind of like out.
Pattaya.
Pattaya. I'm like, okay. So Wood sent me initially to Sityodtong, and that's how basically, the whole Sityodtong connection began. Then again, I went back. I talked to Yatsenan. I talked to his wife. Yatsenan's like, I can't make any decisions. I can't say anything. You have to talk to
Wow.
Yeah, you have to talk to Kriyotong.
Wow.
So I talked to Kriyotong, and I told him, I'm like, no disrespect. I know what you guys are doing. You guys have your own thing going, but I'm like, it would be amazing if a Sityodtong fighter was to fight on HBO or Showtime in America to put the name out there. They're like, yeah, but don't you know that no Thai fighter has ever left Thailand with the belt and come back with the belt? And I did background check, and that actually was completely true. Like they've had maybe 20 world champions, and every single time they fly abroad
Outside.
to fight somewhere, they come, they lose. They lose a decision. They, like the living conditions were not there, or, they just basically
Whatever it is,
fly
yeah.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Different.
Completely different. I'm like, if I tell you that, we could put a great camp together and do this and that, would that be something that would, interest you guys? Like, yeah, let's talk to our business manager. I'm like, wow, so many managers.
Yeah.
So the business manager at the time was the former prime minister of the country.
Wow.
Like, we have to go to his palace. I'm like, cool. I'm like 23, 24, like kind of like nervous shit. I want to go to the former prime minister's palace. So we go, and I remember it was Chayapak City Wat. I'm kind of telling them how things work and everything. He's like, wow, that's a great opportunity. I'm like, yeah, like, would you guys be interested? They're like, yeah. So they just, I guess, some hush money to the other side. But yeah, it worked out where we signed a multi-fight contract with the American promoter.
Mm-hmm.
They flew us out. We did an entire 1-month training camp in California. They were coming to Edmund's gym, Edmund's Karate back then, Glendale Fighting Club now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We did a great training camp. The fight became the co-main event to Diego Corrales versus Sileno Freitas, which was the fight of the year.
Wow.
So we're the co-main event. We went to Foxwoods Resorts. The promoter took great care of Yotsunon. Everybody was super impressed that, like, they're being treated the way they're supposed to be treated. He fought Stevie 2-Pound Forbes, who's a former world champion. We won the decision.
Wow.
And
So you won, huh?
yeah,
First
he
guy to
won.
win.
Yeah.
Damn, making history.
Yeah, I remember a lot of, it was in Foxwoods, so I remember Mark Delagrotti. He's a Sityodtong. So he came out with his whole...
Kenny Fornes back in the day.
Yeah,
The Sityodtong, and they made. Sorry, they got the name in MMA, right?
Exactly, yeah. So, like, Mark came out with his entire team. There's like, like 30, 40 guys from Sityodtong, Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, Walter came up. Everybody was just, we had a big support system. And like that, I don't think that's ever happened when a Thai fighter from Thailand comes here. They just basically come as, even when they're the champion, they're considered the B-side because, the local hometown guy has.
For sure, yeah.
And, like, we made sure that was not the case. And, Yotsun won the fight. Went back to Thailand as a champion, first time in Thai history.
Wow, yeah.
Which is a very, very big deal.
That's crazy to be a part of that. Just to randomly meet these guys and talk to them. Hey, man, you can do this. You should do this because of this. Okay, that makes sense.
But they just...
What if you did this, that they went and they never won a fight, right? When they went out of Thailand.
Yeah, but I mean, like, somebody has to tell them. Somebody has to kind of break the ice and kind of break barriers.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was my place to do it, but I did it.
Wow, yeah. I feel really blessed that, I met Walter as well, It was right when I moved to LA too. And all the Muay Thai coaches we ever had were from, like, his lineage, and Coach Andy now, and, all in the past, Brian. But I was going to say, just when he would go every year to Pajaya to go train with him, right?
Yeah.
And Andy and all the guys were there, and I went there for a day trip, because I went with Adit, and we did like a day trip, and I trained there for the day, and it was amazing,
Yeah.
And he was still alive, at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, what a epic and legendary camp, to be a part, and all the guys were Kuyo Gong, is it Gong?
Gong Tolani.
Yeah, he was like
Walter's. Walt's coach, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Krugong.
Yeah, and all the guys were. What's
Yeah,
the actor
Samat's
guy's
brother.
name? Samat's brother. Yeah, exactly. So all those guys were there, and you just kind of get to experience like some of the legends, of Sityodtong.
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew Sityodtong was a very, like I said, highly ranked Muay Thai figure in Thailand, but I didn't know the caliber and magnitude of how famous he was.
Yeah.
When I brought him to the United States, I remember we had a kind of like a greeting to the Muay Thai community or just the Thai community, right? So Sityodtong is sitting there, and he would always tell me, "Come sit next to me." Okay. I'm sitting next to him. People are, like all the Thai coaches, right? Crew Rex, like Pong,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
twins, everybody in like the Muay Thai community is there. Like people are coming and they're bowing and bowing to him. Like, geez, like they're, Thai Godfather. So it was quite a sight to see to see how much respect people had for Sityodtong.
What's the story? He won the lottery.
Yeah, he won
Twice.
I don't know about twice, but I know he won the Thai lottery, and it was not in Thai money, but I believe in, again, maybe fact check.
Yeah, yeah.
This is what I heard, and it came from a lot of good sources. I think it was $2 million US. I believe he literally gave 90% of it to orphanages
and brought in a lot of the kids to train, right, to give them a home.
Yeah,
and that's part of the story, right?
Yeah.
Of Sityodtong.
I mean, if you look at Sityodtong, right, it's such a big camp. It's got such a big name. Like, I would say top 3 MMA promotions in the world. Who's the head of one of them? Sityodtong.
Shout out to him.
Yeah,
right?
shout out to him. He's doing great things, and I'm so proud to be kind of affiliated with, just through the name, with him. Walter's doing great. Walter's my brother. Like I've got mad respect for him. Look at Mark Delagrati's killing it, and I think this is between me and Rich. I think this is the 38th Muay Thai school that's going to be opening up. You can't get.
You're using the Sityodtong.
Yeah.
The Sityodtong. What city is it going to be?
Camarillo.
Camarillo.
Yeah, Sityodtong 805.
805.
Yeah, I always wanted to do
Muay Thai gym.
Yeah, like doing the promoting and managing. I've managed a lot of fighters, and I promoted a lot of fights, coached a lot of fighters. But it was like one of those things where it'd be cool to be a gym owner at one point. And then like when Rich wanted to do it, and then the whole Sityodtong connection, I was like, you know what, like let's just do it. So
nice, awesome, man. Yeah. What a story with Sityodtong. That's great. You kind of like went down that talked about a little bit. He won the lottery, and then he put like 90% into like giving back into the orphans, and training guys to get off the streets and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was funny because I think I kind of became a partial celebrity in Thailand because like after the fight, the Thai media, everybody's just taking pictures of Yotsunon, and they had this. All the sports magazines, like actually after the fight was over, the camp flew back to Thailand, and Sityodtong told me, hey, come back, there's going to be a big celebration. If you could make it back, come down so you could go to, we're invited to, at that time, the standing prime minister's brother's birthday party was going to happen.
Wow.
So he's like, we want you to go with us. I'm okay. So again, packed my shit, back to Thailand. I get there. There's a big mall. I would pass like, oh, people are kind of pointing. I'm like, why the hell are people pointing at me? I passed by a magazine stand. It's a picture of like Yotsunon in the ring, and you see me in the background, just kind of like this. Just I'm like, oh shit, okay, like I'm a magazine. That's why people are kind of pointing at me.
Yeah, some great Muay Thai fights, right? In 1FC now, right?
Yeah,
it's cool because they have the jiu-jitsu grappling too, which is cool, and then they have, of course, the MMA. And then they have like different rule sets too, right? And for the Muay Thai, it's like Muay Thai with
the small gloves.
Yeah.
You'll see that soon. You're going to be seeing that soon in California.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then, what are some of your favorite Muay Thai fighters in like 1FC, for example? Because that's kind of like that. I mean, that's like the biggest promotion, right?
Well, yeah.
For Muay Thai.
Yeah. I mean, how do I go any further away than my boy, right? Giorgio Petrosian.
Yeah.
Marat Grigorian. Again, like there's,
of course,
I know there's no religion in politics in sports. So another one of my very good fighters that I really think is amazing is Chingiz Ailazov. Although he comes from a background that I'm not really too happy about, but a fighter's a fighter, and I respect him because he's I don't think he brings he's too into the whole the religion or the countries or any of that stuff that happens. But I've met him in person. He's a very, very good guy. I met him when he actually fought Petrosian for the Bellator kickboxing title in Rome. And again, I didn't feel the animosity from him towards me or any of the Armenians over there. So I'm like, this guy's pretty cool.
Cool. And we had like Nico, King of the North, you know, the Carrillo. Is his last name Carrillo, right? Yeah, Carrillo. It's like because in Portuguese, Carrillo, you know, Carrillo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I watched a lot of his fights, and when I was like, oh man, then I didn't realize that they had the small gloves. They used the small gloves.
I think the
for their
person who
Muay Thai
actually
fights.
started that was John Wayne Park, because he used to do his promotions in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm not. I don't think I know he started the small gloves Muay Thai in the cage when he was doing his promotions back then, and I think ONE FC came after that.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it's great. It's great, right? Because I highlight some of these
Oh, yeah.
amazing like Muay Thai fighters, and
Yeah.
you know they even have like the females, right? And
Yeah.
that was never happened
Oh,
before,
yeah,
right?
Stamp Fairtex, those girls are.
And then they mix them up with MMA and jiu-jitsu, and you know, at first I was like, okay, whatever, but then you can't help but like watch the fights and see
yeah.
what's going on, and especially when they have it on Amazon, right?
Yeah, no, they. I mean, what Chaudhry is doing is next level stuff. You know, it's people might. There's other promoters that might talk shit and this and that, but you gotta respect the guy for doing. Doing
Yeah.
this.
And you see like Mikey Musumeci going over to the UFC. The UFC, they're doing the grappling thing too, or
Yeah.
wanting to get involved. And I think that's a direct, result kind of the ONE FC and Chaudhry doing the work that he's doing, right?
Yeah, when you see something successful, you want to do the same thing, So
Like people talking about it and hype, right, in the martial arts community.
yeah, because like a lot of these, a lot of the grapplers, jiu-jitsu guys, it's just like they're so great at what they do.
You're right.
And when when you don't have anything to kind of, we don't have that next level stage for them to actually make money by doing what they're good at.
Yeah.
They're forced to go into mixed martial arts, which is like like a lot of people just don't like to get hit.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's not wrong. Like why would you want to get hit? So to open up that stage for them where they could display their talents and bring everybody together, because a lot of people are paying to see it. So like when they get paid to do it now, other competitors are like, shit, man, we could make money doing this without getting punched in the head. Like, and it's becoming a bigger thing than it initially started with.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool. Yeah, see, and I love, like I said, I love how they cross fight inside the promotion,
Yeah.
you know? And so they don't like have to give up the belt, but you can see how they do against an MMA fighter or a grappler versus one of the MMA fighters, right?
Yeah, because it was, to me,
And then it's like a true test of like, okay, how good it really is that grappler, and how good is the fighter, right?
Exactly. So like, to me,
In a
it's
different
always,
rule set.
No, for sure. Well, when you look at it, right, when you're a Muay Thai fighter, you could get paid to do Muay Thai. But as a grappler, in the past, there was like people didn't want to see you grapple.
Right,
and they didn't want to pay you to see you grapple.
Right.
So if you're a striker, you get to get compensated to do what you do. When you're a grappler, you don't. You just basically get a little clap.
Yeah.
Now to kind of for these guys to get their due for doing what they do, they're so good at. It's actually
their
really
dues
good.
and their respect and their dues, right?
Yeah, because
Pay
you
their
have
dues.
MMA, you have Muay Thai and kickboxing that get paid.
Yeah.
Grapplers, sorry, we think you guys just grabbing each other, but like it's a lot more than that. Like, see, I'm huge striking fan, right? I've never really cared for grappling.
Yeah.
But now, paying closer attention, I'm like, man, like there's a lot of art that goes into this. It's difficult.
To appreciate, and the way they set it up too, right?
Yep.
With some of the guys that they bring over as well.
Yeah, like with grappling, is like you're playing chess. You're like, you got to think like 6 steps ahead to get to your anaconda choke, but it starts with a little, like arm tug.
Yeah.
And when you don't understand it, and again, it's just people are not educated in it. You can't blame people for not, if they're not educated. You can't be like, oh, you're stupid, you don't understand.
Yeah.
You just, like I did with a lot of the people that think that promoting MMA is easy. You just got to kind of, one by one educate them and teach them how things work, and like they'll pass it on and they'll pass it on. It becomes a domino effect.
Yeah. The ONE FC, right? The ONE FC, like in compared to like a UFC, for example, Dana White or I don't know, just the way it was built too, right? And you have the Gracies, but there wasn't like that martial art, like old school martial art. It was kind of, because I came up in that, I started learning jiu-jitsu in that era of like, we're the best, jiu-jitsu is the best,
Yeah.
So there was always that, like one martial art versus the other. So there wasn't a lot of like that respect, but Chatri, the way he sets it up is like, there's like, he celebrates the culture and the martial art respect aspect, which I think is really cool. And it's kind of sets him apart too from,
No, it does.
from other people.
It does. He's doing amazing work.
Yeah.
Congratulations to him for all the success.
Yeah. But the UFC, man, without the UFC, there'd be nothing,
Yeah.
If they wouldn't, Dana White wouldn't have toughed it out, and the Fertitta brothers and the Ultimate Fighter and Stefan Bonner and Forrest Griffin with that fight that they had, Ultimate Fighter, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, anybody that talks MMA is gonna. You can't talk about MMA and in the UFC without bringing up Dana White's name. The guy is
sure.
He's a legend, right? If anybody's talking shit, a lot of these fighters, like, I'm not gonna mention any names. They're like, oh, Dana abuses us. Dana does this. I'm like, listen, without Dana, you'll be either changing a tire, flipping a burger, or doing something that doesn't matter. Dana gave you an opportunity. Dana gave you an opportunity to do what you do. Now, if you're complaining about $30,000 not enough, well, shit, stop being boring. Do something more exciting. Get a bonus.
Yeah.
If you're exciting, if you move the needle, Dana's not going to say you're going to stay at 30 and 30. Dana, like, if you're doing good, if you're doing good,
they send you money if you fight hard and leave it all on the table.
Exactly. But here's the thing, like, if you're performing and people are watching you, Dana wants to pay you because he's going to get paid.
Right.
But they're so, they're closed-minded. Like, oh no, Dana's abusing us. Oh no, Dana should pay us for this. Dana should pay us for that. I'm like, no, Dana should not be paying you for shit. You should be happy with what you're getting. Yes, he will pay you once he's not a piece of shit.
Yeah,
right?
Just get results, right? Get results and get attention, right? Be exciting, right?
Yeah.
Be exciting.
Yeah.
Even if you don't win, but if you're exciting and you sell the fight, right?
Yeah.
That be even before the fight, right?
Yep.
You hype it up.
Yeah,
you do your job, right?
Yeah. Well, there's like people kind of mix up hype and disrespect. Some of these fighters are just straight out idiots. They probably have one amateur fight and then they all of a sudden think they're God's gift to fighting. But like I understand how to build up a fight, but I also understand that you shouldn't be disrespectful to the promoter or your opponent. And a lot of the kids don't understand the difference yet.
Yeah, it's a whole learning thing, and it's good to talk about it, right? Because what's the right way to act, right? Like in a way, but like you have to hype the fight, you have to sell the fight.
Yeah.
So you have to be like do certain things to sell it, right?
Yeah.
But you don't. There's a right way. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it, and you can communicate right with the people involved.
There's stages
to make it good.
Make it good, make it believable to the fans so they could tune in, right? But there's levels where you kind of step it up a little bit when you go on the regional level, right? If you're being disrespectful and the only people that are seeing it is you're like 65 Instagram followers or whatever, what does that really do? It just makes people think that you're an idiot, right? But now you bring it up to the next level where there's actually coverage. People aside from your fans are watching it. I would encourage it to a level, and like there's a lot of hype where a lot of the new generation, I would say, they've watched too much Conor McGregor, too much Floyd Mayweather, where yes, you could act like Conor, but can you fight like him? Can you back it up? You could talk shit like Floyd, but can you box like him? Right. You have to bring up your level of confidence and your cockiness along with your skill, and people. Some people leave that behind. Like they only bring the cockiness and confidence and leave the fight. Yeah, leave the skills behind. It's like, shit. Oh, here, let me bring you with me. But I don't know. I've never been.
Not everybody can be a Conor McGregor,
No,
right?
no. Connor's Connor because
And
Connor.
Muhammad Ali's
Yeah.
and all these guys that
I always
do
tell
it big.
fighters, I'm like, stop trying to be Connor. He's already taken. You be you. Try to make your own character.
Yeah, yeah, it's
But,
crazy.
Yeah.
Going to Up Next Fighting. Let's talk about Up Next Fighting and how that came about. I'm very proud. I've known you, like you're sharing with me. Like I've known you since you pretty much started fight promoting around that time. So it's really cool to see you go from Muay Thai to just all the other different things, even like some boxing, right?
Yeah, our shows used to be hybrid shows.
Hybrid shows, right?
Yeah, it would be boxing, Muay Thai, and MMA in a
You started
ring.
MMA later
Everything
on,
in one night. Yeah.
yeah. And then now, MMA is kind of
The main.
the main show, right?
Yeah.
Because of the popularity of UFC and
Yep.
the work that they've done, right?
Yeah.
So how did Up Next Fighting happen for
Well,
you?
Up Next Fighting, we've been in business for about 2.5 years now. Chris and Ryan Buckner and the Buckner family, I've known them for a very long time. I think probably close to 10 years. And Chris used to come to all of Thor Skanky's fights. Thor was one of my
Thor,
guys.
yeah.
Thor's. Me and Thor have a really good relationship where I kind of helped him turn a positive into his MMA career where he was getting thrown to the wolves early in his career, and I was like, hey, I'm not gonna set up your fights, but you should be fighting people that are at a even
Or good matchups, right?
good
It's all
matchups, good even
right?
matchups,
The right
yeah.
matchups, yeah.
Exactly. And he was a crowd pleaser, of course. If you're in business, you got to do what's right for the fans, put up good fights, and also you got to protect your guys that actually put asses in seats.
Yeah,
And Thor
yeah.
was one of those guys.
Yeah, he was,
He was a
yeah.
very brash, cocky, but respectful fighter.
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, you know what? We're gonna get you the right fights. You're not gonna walk over anybody, but you're gonna have a good opportunity to be at an even playing field. And I told him, like, I'm not gonna give you gimmies, but I'm telling you, like, train your ass off. Train your ass off, because every single fight you got to think in the back of your head that you're fighting the top UFC guy. I don't care if he's good, bad, whatever. Just train hard. Don't think I'm going to give you easy fights. That's not going to happen. So train your ass off, become good, because, you might get a couple of semi-favorable fights on. Back then it was called Lights Out at the Sportsman's Lodge or something. We didn't have the 3 letters yet. And I remember me and Steve were actually doing, like, Steve was like, what should we name it? I'm like, I don't know. We're at the Sportsman's Lodge. Let's call it Lights Out and Bash at the Sportsman's Lodge. I'm like, and I told her, I'm like, train hard, every single time.
And that was the epic, the times of the Sportsman's Lodge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I told him, I'm like, maybe like in a fight or two, when you get a couple of wins, what if Bellator or UFC comes calling? If you're not training hard enough, you're gonna go and you're gonna choke over there. So I'm like, just bust your ass. You're gonna get there.
Yeah.
So with Thor, we started doing that, and then Chris Buckner, they were friends. So Chris used to come in like corner Thor, and we met a couple of times. Like, what's up? That's nothing formal. And then I believe, like, a few years down, Chris's son wanted to try his hands at MMA, and Thor's like, hey, Chris's son JJ wants to fight. Let me introduce you. So we officially became acquainted with the Buckner family, and I started promoting his son. He started doing really good, and then I knew, like, they were always interested, especially Chris and Ryan and Kobe, who were always there front row, just kind of like, man, Georgie, what you doing is pretty cool. I'm like, yeah. So like, I started working with JJ. He was doing good. Then we kind of, and at that point now, Lights Out at the Sportsman's Lodge, we had branded to CXF, California Extreme Fighting, where my very good buddy Mike Rush started doing CXF in 2005. I used to help him back then with matchmaking, and then he was like, I'm tired. I want to go, like, work on my business. So he left it, and I called Mike. I'm like, Mike, do you mind if I revive CXF? It's like, oh man, I don't know. I'm like, Mike, it's me. Like, I'll make sure I do it right. So, like, CXF doesn't, like, CXF's legacy would always live on. I was like, okay, fine. So I did the first show. We called CXF The Comeback. And then we started calling it all kinds of names, Gold Rush and this and that. But when JJ started fighting, it was for CXF. And then we rebranded CXF to a different promotion company. We did that for about 2 or 3 years. And then, we had a falling out with one of the people that was involved. So I think right in between Celtic Gladiator, I used to do all of their matches here when they used to come here from Ireland.
Okay.
Albert was like, "Hey, can you do a show?" I'm like, "Sure." So he came by. We did a Celtic Gladiator show, and JJ fought on the card. And Chris was like, "What are you doing?" Like, me and the family have been really thinking about, like starting a MMA promotion. Like, would you want to help out? Like, I don't know, man. I'm like, I'm kind of burnt out, like I really want to go focus on, like family and my job and everything. But I'm like, let me think about it. So I talked to my wife, like, I'm just going to give it one more go at it. See if it works, it works. It doesn't, So
Yeah, because you've been helping like fighters and doing promoting for a lot of years, and people think, oh, you're promoting, you're making all this money, you're rich,
No, there's no money in MMA. It's just there was a labor of love pretty much for 17, 18 years already.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I told Chris, I'm like, I'll help you with whatever you want me to help you with. Like, if you guys want to do it, like I'll kind of be your mentor. Mm-hmm. So, and they're like, we're going to do this thing right. I'm like, cool. And I didn't know what doing this thing right was until I met Chris Buckner. Like,
wow.
The dude is literally like, wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. He's already got a plan until like 9 p.m. when he goes to bed. And, like
high performer.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like he runs UNF. Like, I think we probably run UNF tighter than the UFC does.
I mean, man, like what these guys get, we had the Alta guys and then Matthew and some of the Brian and some of the guys, and it's just like a world class like show, with all the things that they get, all the promotions. It's amazing, amazing.
Yeah, like what I was always used to it was just me and Steve Bash, right? We've been partners for.
I've been around the game for forever since old school days, and I've never seen a production. And that you're not just saying, I'm seeing it, right? And I've never seen a promotion that run that well. Besides, like like the not even like Bellator, but like UFC.
That's it.
Really.
That's pretty much again. All the respect of Bellator and PFL, and they're doing very big things. Yeah. But when you kind of compare us to anybody except for the UFC, I think man per man, dollar per dollar, we're 100 times better than any other promotion, because we just like everybody that's a part of UNF is so passionate about it. We know that we're gonna make. We know we're gonna make it. Right, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah,
that's why it's like I think we have more meetings internally with with the higher ups weekly. I talk to Chris every day. I talk to Bash every day. Me and Ryan talk about matchmaking. Like, there is one texter call minimum every single day. So when there's so much time and effort put into something, and especially when you have Chris that's like literally on everybody's ass, like, hey, you were supposed to call me at 3:05. It's 3:10. What the fuck's happening to you? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And again,
wow, amazing.
I was never used to that. Like I did shit on my own time because I didn't have anybody counting on me to do work. But like when you start working with a team, and again, like we used to do
with the right team too.
Yeah,
right?
We used to do shows, right? We used to do MMA events, like every 3 months or whatever. Like I would call Steve. I'm like, hey, your family have anything planned for August 12th? He's like, let me talk to my wife. It's like, yeah, we're free that weekend. I'm like, okay, I'll just put in the date. Like, it was just kind of like whenever, like
there's a method behind the madness.
Yeah, but with UNF, everything is pre-planned. Like, we have meetings to have meetings to have meetings, and I'm sure you and your team, see that because we're not trying.
I've never seen anything like the social media pushes. It's amazing. Yeah,
we're not
across the board.
Yeah, we're not trying to do one show here and there. Like, everything is like our 2025 is pre-planned.
Yeah, you guys are building a brand. It's amazing.
Building, and again, I don't see. You could see, like in the past 20 years, a graveyard full of, fallen MMA promotions.
For sure, yeah.
But I think from our first fight, first event to our 22nd event last Saturday, we haven't taken our, we haven't taken our foot off the gas. It's just push full throttle. We try to do everything to help everybody, to make everybody's jobs easier. Like I think even like a promotion like UFC or Bellator, they have issues with medicals up until the last day of the show. With Chris's persistence and push and everything, our medicals are completely done. On a Monday of fight week, we don't have any medicals done. We're done. We're not dealing with this shit. I don't want to send a fighter who's cutting weight to get his medicals done. I let him think I'm an asshole by pushing him to go do his medicals a week before, but he'll thank me on fight week when he's trying to cut weight and his eyes are not dilated and he can't see shit running onto poles. So that's all about we're building a brand, and like sooner or later, everybody's gonna see it. We're not doing a show here and there, not trying to steal anybody's fighters. Right. I don't need that shit. I've seen the worst, I've seen the best of everything that the fight game has to offer, and now with our team, we're unstoppable.
Hey, you guys are crushing it. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
We all the fighters, we all appreciate you guys.
And it's not, like we're not trying to just, give these guys fights. We're trying to get them ready for that next level of, fighters are not just about the fight, right? We brought up that point of
you have to sell yourself,
They need to sell themselves. Well, what do? We have our content day. They come in, we take their pictures. We tell them, hey, this is how you're supposed to take your picture. Face that way, face this way. They sit down, they do an interview with our broadcasters, right? Like we got John, Todd, sitting down there, getting information from them so they could tell their story during the event. But no other promotion does that. I literally sit down and I hear other promotions during the broadcast. They're just talking about the stupidest shit. Oh, he has nice shorts. Did his mom knit it for him? I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, what are you talking about? Then when you hear ours, this is his background. This is where he comes from. His mom is sitting, his mom wasn't able to come here because she's in Mexico. She's tuned in. You want to have a backstory of fighters, and nobody else does that. But we pay special attention to detail because these fighters need to put their name out there. So, we'll look at it. Content, right?
Yeah.
What do I do to social media to kind of make me look good? Well, we have a social media director that works on a monthly. We don't just hire him show by show. He works for UNF, and all these fighters, when they have questions about what to put on social media, how to post, what time to post, we coach them up on all of that stuff. So basically, what we do is we take a raw fighter. His coaches teach him how to fight. We give him the platform to perform on, right? And we also give him the other package of how to conduct yourself like a professional when you get to the next level. So when we hand off that champion to the UFC, they don't have to do any more work. We've done the work for them.
Yeah, the popularity and your how many people follow you and all those things, right?
Yep.
That's gonna dictate your pay, right?
Yep.
How much money you make.
Yeah. You gotta be a needle pusher, right?
Yeah, for sure. Man, one of the things I've always appreciated about you is your support. Of course, you being Armenian, but all the Armenian fighters from boxing to MMA. You had mentioned to me about the Manny Gamborian. We were like looking at dates and stuff when that was. Like Edmund cornered me back. Yeah, I think it was before that, right? So like 2007.
When you fought Roger Huerta.
Yeah, so it was,
I remember I was your throwing dummy for that fight. Like you're walking into the gym, you're doing mitts, and then you're like, man, I really, after I hit mitts or whatever, I need to work on my grappling. I'm like, and I'm the only one there. You guys are both staring at me. I'm like, what do you guys want? They're like, oh, can Alberto, do some grappling with you? I'm like, sure, I hate grappling, but no problem. If Alberto's got a fight coming up, I'll be that guy.
Yeah,
and I remember we literally went around the tatami with you just tossing around my head like, pop, pop, pop.
Doing takedowns and stuff.
Jeez, okay. Like, am I getting paid for this, or am I, But yeah, that was that was the first time I ever actually met you because I walked into the gym. You were in Edinburgh working. It was like, oh, meet Alberto. He's from New Mexico. He's going to be fighting in the UFC. He's like, we were, I'm helping him get ready. I'm like, hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And 10 minutes later, you're, literally tossing me around the tatami.
Yeah, you guys, I appreciate both of you guys. You guys, yeah, and did like always. I got to see how much work, how many Armenian fighters you guys were helping, like different, boxing, MMA. Later on, MMA. At the beginning it was just striking, right? Because you guys weren't so involved yet. So yeah, it was really cool to see those early days, and it already had been a lot of years. Now it's a lot of years, right? But back then it was already like a lot of years,
No, it is.
You guys have been dedicated to the fight game.
Yeah, no, it's been a hell of a ride. Like when you look at it, when you kind of like go back 15, 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
Back then we didn't have that many gyms. Right now, honestly, like I was telling my friend, I'm like, man, like I think the MMA boxing gyms are becoming the new weed shops for Armenians. Like every 10 blocks there is a new gym.
Yeah, yeah.
But back then you had Gokor, who was I think he's in the Armenian community,
right?
He's a very, I think he would be a legend.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he goes back to like when I was living in Hollywood, so it's like 25, 30 years of look at all the people he's been working with. He's worked with they fly him out.
His lineage, yeah.
And they fly him out everywhere to do seminars. If through time, I've noticed that a lot of people that had some sort of a name kind of died out, but Gokor's name is the one thing that has always kind of stayed up there, and I think that's because he stays so active. Like Gokor is like I think the roughest person I ever met. Like you'll shake his hand, the simplest handshake, your hand is bruised for a couple of weeks, and that's a really nice gentle handshake for him. But back then you had
still a beast.
Yeah, you had Gokor, and again for striking, for his when you look at it age-wise, right? Like Edmund started his gym at the age of 18.
Right.
But look at where he got to in that short of a period. Like headlining UFC events, head coach to probably one of the biggest stars the UFC ever had.
With Ronda Rousey, yeah.
Like for a moment there, I remember when Ronda was in the gym. Like he hit me up. He's like, "Man, can you come to the gym?" So I was like, "Can you try to figure out a schedule for me?" I'm like, "Why?" He's like Lake Weed is coming to the gym. Travis Brown's there. 170. Jake Ellenberger's there. The Four Horsewomen are there. Jared was training with us. Brandon Vera's there. He's like, I can't figure it out, like how to give. So I was like,
attention,
okay, yeah. I had to sit down and kind of like, all right, this is your schedule for this and that and that. I'm like, you could probably see your kids for 17 seconds between 4 and 4:01, and then you could go sleep for but like the gym just blew up. And again, it just didn't blow up because around that, and I think like a lot of people were noticing that like Edmund's passion and love for the sport, and just especially with the striking, like when he coaches, like he's like he doesn't just coach you, like he kind of like gets into your like you could see the focus that he gets, so. And again, you had Gokor doing the grappling. Edmund's striking was like just elevating to another level. It's we had a lot of good guys come through the GFCs. Like our boxers. They perform. Like got to all the way to third or fourth ranked in WBA and the IBF. Fought multiple times on Showbox and ESPN. So a lot of that took a lot of work and a lot of time. That me and Edmund took away from our families.
For
but
sure.
I
Dedication.
think and
you have to respect. People have to respect them. They forget, or
people forget. People forget the good things and always remember the one. It's not even a bad thing. Like they try to find the blemish.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the blemish on you. People will just tag you with it, and one rumor spreads, and then just all of a sudden, like people think that you're just this horrible person because they started that rumor about you. But let's go back and remember all the good things about it. I guarantee you in 10 seconds, you'll be feeling like you're the biggest piece of shit in the world.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Well, thank you, bro. Thank you for all you've done for so many fighters, right? And people, and as well as the Armenian fighters. It's been amazing to see it and be a part of it. You've helped me as well over the years. Always trying to watch out, continuing to this day, right? with our fighters and the guys that we have coming from the gym. I'm not so involved with the MMA scene, but it's I know how you take care and do it right.
Yeah.
Help them out. So yeah, really excited to see with up next. Where it keeps going, growing, and yeah, just great to see you, and always
Thank you.
great to see you, and
Appreciate
I always love talking to you, and so I appreciate you coming on the show.
I appreciate you
and
having
talking.
me. It's been a long time coming, but we finally did it.
We finally did it. Yeah, we had Gokar, we had all the guys. We had to get Edmund, right?
Yeah.
Talk to Edmund, hopefully.
Let's give him a call. Let's get him on here next week.
Yeah, awesome.
Edmund's got a lot of good stories too.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
How can people find you?
I'm on Instagram at Mr. Lights Out 21. I have Facebook and everything, but I'm just very accessible. Yeah,
Yeah.
people could reach me on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.
Thank you
so
very much. Appreciate it.